If you want to build some massive quads naturally, you need to give sissy squats a shot, because contrary to the name, they're the complete opposite. In this video, I'll be explaining why they might just be the #1 squat variation for quad growth specifically. So let's talk about the history, the benefits, and the safety, because I know that's a huge concern for many of you. So I learned about this movement years ago from the one and only Vince Gironda, an old school bodybuilder who not only used the sissy squat a lot and actually wrote a manual on it, but also prescribed to his clients. And many of the greats that we all love and know today also use the sissy squat. So it was typically incorporated as a burnout at the end of the program, though some individuals did do it weighted with a barbell in the rack position. I'm not a fan of that style, and I'll talk about how to load the exercise better after, but just know that this lift is time proven, and it's always been known to be an amazing quad builder. Only con is the potential knee stress, and that's why it got out of favor, because for a long time people thought that if you bring your knees over your toes, that's going to lead to shearing and overall destruction, until Ben Patrick came along, aka the knees over toes guy, who completely revolutionized everybody's thoughts for the most part. Like, most individuals are in agreement with him that yes, it is fine to bring your knees over your toes, and with progressive range of motion increases, you can strengthen the ligaments such that the knees eventually become bulletproof, which is great for all strength athletes or anyone who simply wants to build muscle in the legs without having to worry about getting snapped up one day. And what Ben always says is that there's no such thing as can't do. It's just levels, which is a really healthy way to think. And obviously this includes the sissy squat, which he regularly performs. So that was a massive revelation, not only to me, but to the entire fitness industry. So big respect to Ben for that. Now the final individual further solidified the sissy squat philosophy. Doug Brignoli, to my knowledge, is the only individual that quantified why the sissy squat works on a biomechanics level, which is absolutely insane. His argument is that when you do a regular barbell back squat, the lower leg, aka tibia, is only bending forward about 30 degrees. So you're not getting a maximum load on the quadriceps, and therefore you need to up the weight like crazy. And the way he maths it out is that if you're a 200-pound male doing a body weight sissy squat, you'll get more direct load on your quads compared to that same man squatting 200 pounds with a bar on his back. But now there's no stress on the spine, which in my opinion, that part isn't bad, because you can strengthen the area through doing things like deadlifts, good mornings, etc. Reverse hypers, the traction. And obviously that's not a tremendous amount of weight to begin with as well. And you can do things like belt squats, restoration. So there's ways around that, as well as the fact that when you get heavy enough, you're still gonna get jacked quads, and your posterior chain will also have the added benefit of growing, which is one of the main reasons why people do squat. It's not only about the quads. So that's a different topic altogether. But in terms of the emphasis on the front part of the leg, we have to not be biased here. The sissy squat, because you're bringing that lower leg all the way forward, is maximally loading the quadriceps. And that's why some people can't even do 10 reps with their body weight. They're hard for a very good reason. Tell a random novice to do it, they're not gonna be able. And this is precisely why Juji Mufu cannot do a 1 rep max sissy squat with 145 pounds, despite being able to squat over 500 and being jacked out of his mind, and not natty either. So this exercise is far from being for sissies. It really is difficult and bang for your buck. So with the combined information of all three of these individuals, it really solidified my belief in the movement. And so I've been doing them myself, and now I recommend it to you as well. Either as a replacement for conventional exercises or additional, which is how I personally use it. I'm still doing my barbell squats and belt squats, but now this is an addition to my program. And given the fact that I neglected my quads for so long, it really is specific to me. Now, in terms of loading, I found many ways to pull this off. I think these are by far the best. As I pointed out at the start of the video, I don't like the Vince Gironda method. It just feels unstable and unsafe. I've also seen some guys do this exercise with the SSB, but I find that unless you're using a very high quality one with long handles, you risk tipping backwards and literally killing yourself. So I wouldn't advise that. So with that in mind, what are the better ways? First is the bodyweight version, arms out in front, no assistance. That's probably going to be good enough for a lot of you watching this right now, until you get to the point where it gets a little bit easier. And for anyone who's an intermediate lifter, that probably is the case already, unless you treat this as a true burnout at the very end of your program after all the major stuff has been done. So that can be a good strategy. But the most effective way is wearing a backpack in front of us. This way, there's no risk of it falling off, and you can go heavy enough that loading won't be an issue. Like if you can find me someone that can do 100 pounds for 3 sets of 10, they're probably really jacked, because this exercise is exceptionally difficult. I need to stress that just adding in a little bit of weight, you'll feel it right off the bat. Now with the backpack, I don't recommend doing it freestanding, because why are you trying to work on your balance? I don't see the point of that. The best option is to grab onto the power rack or anything that's stable, either one arm at a time. If you're scared of pulling with the arms, at least this minimizes it to a certain extent. Though 2 arms is fine as well. I find you get an even deeper stretch and there's less of a mental barrier in that case. So I would personally advise that. But another option is to have band tension coming from the bottom right in front of you. This way, that automatically balances you out. So I found that going no more than a monster mini band is just enough so that you're not getting so much band tension that you're literally having to push this way, as in most of the resistance is coming from in front instead of straight up and down like with the backpack. So it's not true accommodating resistance, and the leverages are going to be pretty much the same as the regular weighted style that everyone does. Just that now we got that balance aspect. So as long as you have a little something to keep yourself stationary, you'll be fine. And even using the reverse hyper works for this. So that's what I recommend if you want to load it up here. Now the second way might even be more effective while being easier to set up. Anyone who works out at a gym is gonna love this. The cable sissy squat. With the cable set really low, grab, back up, do the exercise. Now it's perfectly balancing you, so you never have to worry about tipping over. There's no awkward little setup. You don't have to worry about having this heavy backpack on you or the SSB or the barbell, any of that. And the resistance is coming from in front, which is actually really good when we biomechanically look at what's happening. In fact, if you didn't even do a sissy squat, just performed a regular version, just off that cable coming in front, that would emphasize the quads more than having just gravity do the work for you. Because now the lower leg is getting more perpendicular with the line of the cable. So again, credit to Doug Brignoli for that one, because they really are amazing. I've been doing them consistently and I feel my quads pumping and burning and getting this deep soreness that I haven't felt in a very long time, even compared to the high rep belt squats. Like, this is pure quad. You don't get more focus than this. And I bet that a lot of you will get serious DOMs the first time you try these. The stretch, which is also a crazy benefit, by the way, way to stretch in the quads, one of the few exercises that does it. What I keep saying in my videos, this adds up. So the stretch and the force that you have to come out with, it's just too much of getting more or less weight. This is the purest example I could think of. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. The sissy squat is incredibly effective and much safer than you think. Start doing them at least twice a week. Get progressively stronger. See what happens to those quads. I'm sure you'll be shocked. So enjoy the gains, and I'll talk to you all next time.